Manchester City just took a 2-1 come-from-behind win over Liverpool at Anfield, and this result brings the title race firmly back into focus. This game was a tactically engaging matchup, and it's those tactical details we're going to look into. City began the match in a 4-2 rest structure, with Rodri as the fixed base and Bernardo Silva frequently dropping alongside him during the early build-up. City looked to utilize central access, particularly once they progressed beyond the first line of pressure. This was reflected in their positional structure, which frequently created central overloads designed to occupy Liverpool's midfield line. Liverpool responded with a 2-3 first line of pressure, with space occasionally available between the front two that allowed Rodri to receive the ball. This access, however, was often temporary, with the Liverpool midfield positioned to keep City's forward options in their cover shadow, but would jump aggressively when the ball was played into central areas. City's response to this was to make use of more direct passes into advanced areas from either Donnarumma or the centre backs. This coincided with notable behavior from the two midfielders playing ahead of the City base, O'Reilly and Semenyo. While both are naturally comfortable operating in wider zones, they consistently return to central positions, contributing to a box-like midfield structure that increased City's central presence. This positional decision made it easier for City to overload the midfield and maintain possession in central zones. Meanwhile, Liverpool played with a flatter midfield four to prioritize the compactness of the half spaces. In response, City's fullbacks provided width in midfield, primarily as a spacing tool rather than being the primary option in progression. The fullbacks' width spread the Liverpool midfield, making it easier to go through the center. At times, we did see Aït-Nouri on the ball in more advanced positions, particularly when Salah remained high during defensive duties. But this was more opportunistic, as the citizens would then look to play back to the middle. If we look into the Liverpool defense in their own half, they initially struggled to create a compact back line. This made it easier for O'Reilly and Semenyo to connect between the lines with Holland and Marmoush. To counter this, Liverpool quickly adjusted defensive duties to Szoboszlai to better manage the City attack by playing him as more of a midfield anchor that also provided defensive support. Once City reached the attacking third, Nunez and Aït-Nouri were often seen pushing high and wide, continuing to provide width while City's midfielders remained the primary central threat. When we look more closely at City's build-up, Rodri and Silva were central to facilitating progression. Although City often began with a double base structure, Silva was frequently seen drifting away from the base once City settled in the Liverpool half, operating across both half spaces. This movement made it difficult for Liverpool to contend with defensively as Silva could not be closely marked. Rodri's role remained consistent with what we typically expect from him. His composure under pressure and ability to circulate possession allowed City to remain comfortable against Liverpool's high press, which helped reopen central progression routes throughout the match. When we look at Liverpool's possession phases, we see that Liverpool wanted to play through the center, but were forced to play towards their right channel during the build-up. This was down to the citizens' shape, which limited space for McAllister and Gravenberch to receive and turn centrally. This often meant Liverpool frequently circulated possession through Alisson into Konaté and then Szoboszlai. The added City numbers in midfield made it difficult for Liverpool to progress into. This mixed with a City six-man press on the Liverpool back line meant that the Reds were under pressure from the start. To solve this, Liverpool looked to split their centre backs wider in build-up, which naturally pushed their fullbacks into more advanced positions. This adjustment increased the midfield numbers without sacrificing any of their forwards to drop deep. Once in the attacking third, Liverpool kept their front three narrow. This created two effects. It overloaded City's centre backs and forced a City fullback to step inside, which in turn opened space for Liverpool's advancing fullbacks. Liverpool also maintained a notably high defensive line. This compressed the pitch and limited City's ability to build with tempo in the second half. These spatial adjustments allowed Liverpool to access central areas more frequently, particularly during progression phase attacks. This contrast with the City's central attacking strategy of using the midfielders as the primary central threat versus Liverpool using their forwards epitomized how both managers approached the game. Defensively, City pressed Liverpool in midfield with a 4-3-3 and looked to keep numbers constant when applying pressure. They would then transition to a 4-4-2 to maintain compactness both centrally and in wide areas. In the end, Liverpool's goal came from individual brilliance off a Szoboszlai free kick. However, outside of Haaland's penalty, City's attacking momentum after the equalizer was driven by how they utilized Cherokee. Following Marmoush's substitution, Semenyo shifted towards the left side of the central channel, with Cherokee operating on the right. Cherokee's freedom to move across midfield, and particularly into advanced right side half spaces, created similar defensive challenges to those previously caused by Silva, contributing to City's attacking fluidity late in the match. This game was not one-sided, with both managers coming in with tactics at the ready to make adjustments as needed. In the end, City came out on top, but Liverpool were not far behind in a tactical match that opened up the title race. But what did you think? And please, drop a comment and let me know.